In the dark corners of 1970s Nairobi, a name gripped the public with paralyzing fear: Wakinyonga. To shopkeepers, he was a ghost who struck with speed and vanished without a trace. To police officers, he was a shadow too dangerous to follow. To the public, he was simply a man you never dared speak about after sunset. His name, Wakinyonga, comes from the Swahili word meaning to strangle. It wasn't just a nickname, it was a warning. The real identity of Wakinyonga remains partially obscured by time, mystery, and folklore. Some accounts name him as Mark Wakinyonga, others say his real name was Joseph Owino, but what is certain is that he rose to infamy during the 1970s in Nairobi, a time when Kenya was still defining its post-independence identity. This was a period of growing inequality, rising urban migration, and cracks in the law enforcement system. Nairobi, with its expanding slums and sleepy suburbs, was fertile ground for criminal empires. Wakinyonga took full advantage. He began as a petty thief, part of Nairobi's underworld, but his ambition and brutality soon elevated him to the top. He formed a network of armed robbers, killers, and corrupt allies. Unlike common thieves, Wakinyonga left behind chaos, bloodshed, and a legend. Wakinyonga's crimes were not ordinary. He led a gang that specialized in daylight robberies, targeting banks, businesses, and transport companies. He preferred high-stakes, high-risk heists, the kind that left bodies behind. His weapon of choice was the AK-47, rare and terrifying at the time, smuggled from regional conflict zones. He was said to kill with ease, not just to escape but to make a statement. Witnesses described him as calm under pressure, charismatic even, with a cold stare that unsettled even hardened criminals. Residents in parts of Eastlands and Kariobangi would lock their doors by 5 p.m. when rumors spread he was near. Businesses began closing early, and people avoided speaking his name loudly in public. Whispers circulated that he had police informants in his pocket. Some claimed he bribed his way out of custody on multiple occasions. Others believed he was protected by high-ranking politicians who shared in his loot. As his crimes escalated, the Kenyan government came under intense pressure. The press had turned him into a symbol of lawlessness. Headlines screamed, "Kenya held hostage by one man." The Flying Squad, Kenya's elite crime-busting police unit, was mobilized. They hunted Wakinyonga for months, tracking reports from Kisumu, Nakuru, and Nairobi. He kept slipping away, often with minutes to spare. Some police officers refused to be part of the operation, fearing for their lives. There were reports of failed ambushes, shootouts in crowded estates, and several near misses. Each failure fed the myth: Wakinyonga couldn't be caught. But eventually, the legend met his end. In 1978, police received a tip that Wakinyonga was hiding in a relative's home near Kitui. This time, they came prepared: no warnings, no arrests, just bullets. In a violent shootout, Wakinyonga was gunned down by police. The man who had outwitted authorities for years was finally dead. His body was put on public display, just to prove to a skeptical nation that the nightmare was over. The government hailed the operation as a major victory. Citizens, though relieved, mourned the decay of the justice system that allowed one man to rise so far, so fast. Wakinyonga's story is not just about crime, it's about fear, power, and failure. For nearly a decade, he embodied a broken system. Corruption, poverty, and weak institutions allowed him to flourish. His myth continues to haunt the country's criminal history, influencing how later criminals operated, from Wakuku to Shimoli. His name faded from official textbooks, but in Nairobi's old matatus and street corners, elders still whisper. In those days, even the police feared Wakinyonga. Do you think Wakinyonga could have been stopped earlier, or did fear silence the truth for too long? Share your thoughts in the comments.